Yo, what's going on guys? EN77 here. In today's video we're going to be using Hog EQ with Giant Skeleton. We're going to see if we can take our #1 spot back. Alright, so hopping in the first match, we're going to be up against this guy. Just going to cycle a log. Unfortunately we had kind of a weird cycle, so we did have to go with the Queen on that bar barrel, but Queen is also pretty good on offense, so not too worried about wasting it early on. Okay, so he does have Bowler, Mega Minion, Bar Barrel. It could be like E-Giant or something, not really too sure what else would be running it. Looks like we went with the Hog a second earlier, so we weren't able to have the tower target the Mega Minion, but should be pretty fine here. Just gonna use the low Tombstone. So yeah, if he goes with like an E-Giant, it will still get pulled by the Tombstone. Alright, so we're just gonna Earthquake here. He's playing pretty passively, not really doing much, so we're not gonna do too much either. And yeah, he will E-Giant at the river now, but I'm hoping if we like NATO it or something, the Tombstone should pull the E-Giant, so it will still come in handy here. Yeah, just gonna like bring the E-Giant to the middle to get pretty easily countered by our towers. And Giant Skeleton also gonna kite the baby dragon, so we're gonna get a really clean defense right there. Alright. And yeah, Tombstone is pretty good against E-Giant, honestly, because it's like a spawner, technically, so like it doesn't shoot the E-Giant back, so when the E-Giant can't like shock a building, like with its stun mechanic, then it usually takes like super long to kill it, so then the towers can just finish it off really easily. And also it's only 3 elixirs, so they almost always would have to like overspend a ton to counter it. Like if they wanted to lightning, that would just be like a crazy negative elixir trade, so yeah. So he's just gonna lightning our queen here, so I'm just gonna Giant Skeleton to tank this. We're up a few elixir here, so no reason to not start a push, and maybe we can get some good chip damage, or at least force out some elixir. Okay. I actually got like a pretty good NATO off there. I think that Giant Skeleton would have would have hit his tower, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, his Goblin Cage was actually like placed in a way that stopped it from happening, so pretty well played by him there, but he will go with the E-Giant here, so we're just gonna Giant Skeleton Hog. Unfortunately, the Hog Rider does go in front, but honestly, I don't really care too much. At least we're gonna get one hit. And yeah, if there's like troops in front of the tower and you have like a Giant Skeleton down, it's usually always a good play to try to just like NATO them back. And I did use the Queen there, predicting that he might go for a lightning, so it was pretty good value for us there. Pretty nice timing as well. And yeah, we defended his push really easily, so I'm not afraid to go a bit aggressive here, because I know we can lean on our defensive cards pretty nicely. He can only really get like lightning chip damage, it seems, so far, so yeah, and we're gonna set up a Tombstone pretty early here. The reason I do that is so we can cycle back to another one as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, the Goblin Brawler does go back and kind of kill that Hog Rider, but I'm thinking that our Giant Skeleton should be able to just finish off most of the stuff with the Death Bomb. So yeah, pretty good stuff here. Honestly, the Giant Skeleton Bomb still does work, I feel like, even though it's not as strong as it used to be. Okay, so this is getting a little bit sketchy here. He will E-Giant at the bridge, but we can probably just NATO it back, maybe Tombstone if we have to, and yeah. I'm not really sure why he NATO'd there. I guess he was hoping that the baby dragon would like splash on the tower or something, but not really gonna happen right there, so pretty good stuff for us once again. And yeah, his bowler's not really doing too much for him either. We're kind of just like stacking up the lanes with Giant Skeletons and just DPSing down his E-Giants pretty easily. And yeah, we always like to go with those really high building placements against E-Giants, that way they can't lightning the tower and whatever building I end up using, so yeah, really perfect placements as well right here. So we're just gonna go all in with the Giant Skeleton Hog. Not even worried at all about defense, because we can pretty much fully counter his E-Giant with just a Tombstone if it comes to it, basically, so yeah. He will go with the lightning there, but Queen gonna finish off that E-Giant pretty nicely, and yeah, pretty easy win here actually. I feel like Tombstone kind of carried, so that's gonna be GG. Alright, hopping in the next match, we're going to be up against Riley here. This is actually a friend of mine. He plays log bait, so should be an interesting match. This variant of Hog EQ I feel like doesn't do nearly as good as normal Hog EQ does though against log bait, because they can kind of just like go with Inferno Towers on your giant skeletons, and then they can pretty easily just defend the hog with like guards plus E-Spirit for no hits, so definitely not as easy as it looks. And we do have a bit of a slower cycle, so yeah. But luckily the queen is going to be pretty decent here. It is going to sometimes force him to use like a Valkyrie or something, so now he will have a bit of a harder time stopping the giant skeleton. And yeah, he is going to go with an Inferno Tower there, but now he doesn't have it for the hog. I feel like Logbait is a lot easier with this deck if they have Goblin Gang though, because if he had like Goblin Gang right now, I could just go with like a hog when I cycle back to it and then just prediction log his Goblin Gang. But when they have guards there, you can't really prediction them very well. Alright, so we're going to take the King Tower activation here, because we do have a bit of a slower cycle, so sometimes we may have to eat some barrels, so I feel like it's always a good idea to get that King activated, even if you already have like a log in your deck and all that stuff. Alright, so guards are going to serve him really well here. Do a really good job against the Queen, but we did outcycle his Inferno Tower, so Hog is going to get a couple nice shots there, which puts us in a pretty good spot, actually. And yeah, so he does go with the Princess at the bridge, but we are a bit low on Elixir, so I'm honestly just going to log that away, and he will go with guards here, going really aggressive, so I'm actually going to have to EQ on defense, unfortunately. Okay, we'll go with an aggressive barrel there, but as you can see, the King Tower being activated really helps, and I'm actually going to go with the Hog right away here, because I know he used the barrel as 0 elixir, so I'm pretty sure he has like no elixir to defend the hog right now. We're just gonna NATO that Valkyrie back just to maximize the amount of damage we can get here. I'm gonna go with the low queen as well. Don't really care if the Valkyrie gets a few chip shots on that tower, because it's our weak side tower anyways. And yeah, we can kind of just like EQ cycle him here, get a few hogs, get a few EQs, and maybe a few queens we can try to pressure him with. I'm gonna actually giant skeleton plus hog here, because you will have to spend a good amount. And we did actually get one really nice queen shot there. The unfortunate thing about giant skeleton is that although it can like push the hog out of building range sometimes, other times it will just like make the hog stuck behind it, so it can't actually hit the building and it's still targeting on that building. So yeah, can be a bit counterproductive sometimes, but don't think it will matter too much at this point. Alright, because the Inferno Tower is always going to be a negative trade for him, and yeah, so we can always like hog plus EQ, and we know that he's going to have to spend 5 elixir and we're going to have to spend 7, but we're still going to get like a 2 elixir EQ off, which is going to be always pretty nice for us. He will start his rocket cycle, but I don't really think he can defend our hog here, especially with the EQ. And yeah, okay, actually guards might do the job, yeah. But honestly, I'm just gonna like NATO cycle here. We just need like a NATO plus log plus EQ, I think, and yeah. So yeah, I feel like that was a really good play by us there earlier in this match. We recognized when he was just at like no elixir after he decided to like spend all his stuff at the bridge. Alright, so now we just need a NATO plus log, so that's gonna be GG here. Pretty nice win against bait. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're gonna be up against this guy. I know this guy used to play E-Giant a lot. I do know this guy, but haven't seen him too much recently, so not sure what he might be running now. He could still be running E-Giant, but okay, so he's gonna have E-Barbs, so could be something else, but luckily guards are really good against E-Barbs. With that guards placement, you can actually fully counter the E-Barbs, so yeah. Because as you can see, we just got like the second tower just barely in range of the E-Barb, so that's the way you kind of want to do it. We are actually going to queen really high here. It is a bit of an awkward play to do, but you kind of have to do it because they have lightning, so you don't really have too much of a choice. Honestly, Golem isn't too easy for this deck. It can be a bit difficult just like DPSing down their air units, especially because they can just lightning your queen and then you're kind of left with not really anything against air, but luckily Giant Skeleton is pretty solid against all that stuff, because the Death Bomb does always do work, and yeah. So it ended up pretty good for us, actually. Only took one baby dragon hit. You kind of have to be pretty aggressive in this matchup, though, because if you just, like, be passive and let them build up their pushes, they're just going to overwhelm you eventually, so sometimes, like, right before double elixir, you just want to go in with, like, a queen or, like, a giant skeleton plus hog as they go with their golem. Alright, so we are going to queen at the bridge on the left lane here. Don't really want to, like, let him have that opportunity to build up the golem push once again. Okay, unfortunately the queen will come down a little bit late with the ability there, but shouldn't matter too much. I mean, we could have prevented one E-barb hit and maybe had counter-pushing guards, though, so not great for us, but stuff happens, I guess. We're just going to set up an early tombstone here. Might want to stack tombstones if he decides to lightning the first one. And we're just going to go aggressive here, no reason not to. So yeah, he will have to spend quite a bit on it. We can just go with the queen ability here. Oh wow, our giant skeleton death bomb actually hit the tower. I wasn't even expecting that. Okay, now we just have to focus on defense, but shouldn't be too hard. I mean, the thing is, you don't have like the best defense ever, but you can pretty safely defend their pushes at least decently, because you just see how much value the giant skeleton death bomb gets. And yeah, we had a really nice NATO there, bringing everything into the center to allow both towers to hit. And wow, he does actually have E-drag here, so we could have actually played our queens a lot lower the whole match, but I wasn't really expecting E-drag, because almost everybody runs the deck with lightning. Yeah, gonna be a pretty good win here, and honestly Giant Skeleton is pretty strong against those E-drag decks as well, so I guess not a half bad matchup. Alright, hopping in the next match, we're gonna be up against this guy. I know he does usually run Giant Graveyard, so I guess that's what I'm just gonna expect here. It's always an interesting matchup. I feel like you kind of just have to like play it in a really interesting way. I feel like you can't really be too aggressive with your hogs early on. You kind of have to just like go with the flow. But we will go in with the hog there, because we did have some counter pushing skeletons, so I feel like that should be able to DPS down his Dark Prince pretty decently. And we're just gonna queen here, because his Dark Prince is pretty low on health. It will probably get a charge on the queen, but not gonna finish it off, so looking pretty decent here for us. And we're actually gonna Giant Skeleton at the bridge here, because he has no Dark Prince in cycle, so I'm not really sure what he's gonna do. And he does actually go for the Giant Kite there, but the Giant Skeleton is gonna get distracted by the Witch Skeletons there, and we're actually just gonna NATO this back. He will go in with the Skarmy there, so no, he actually doesn't manage to defend. Our Giant Skeleton Death Bomb does finish off the tower, and we're already off to a super good start right here. You can see that kind of interesting Giant Skeleton, a bit aggressive of a Giant Skeleton, but as you can see, it actually worked out super well for us there. So sometimes you kind of just have to know when to be really aggressive in certain matchups with this deck, and you can kind of just capitalize really easily. And your defense is honestly pretty good with this deck. Like, you should be able to defend almost anything if you set your mind fully to it, because nothing can really overwhelm it too easily. Okay, so he's gonna go with the Witch in the back, just gonna Giant Skeleton in the same lane, just blocking up the lane, so we can't really make too good of a push or anything like that. He does go in with a Giant Graveyard here, but he's not gonna have enough for arrows right away, so our guards are gonna finish off the graveyard pretty well. He does go with the Snowball instead of the arrows, but not going to finish off the guards, so looking pretty good for us here. Alright, we're just going to hog here, because no reason not to. Just going to apply a little bit of pressure and get a bit of chip damage as well. And we're just going to NATO this Skarmy just to make sure we finish off everything. Don't want to give him any opportunity to get anything going on us. Yeah, so we got a good bit of queen chip damage there, so even if he does end up taking one of our towers, we'll already be in a pretty good spot for the next, for like a 2-tower situation. And we're going to split the guards there on the Giant, make sure that the Dark Prince takes the maximum amount of hits to kill off everything. And yeah, just can always rely on the EQ log to kill the graveyard if you have nothing else. And yeah, pretty easy win here. You can kind of just see that the good start was all that it took to win this matchup. So that's gonna be GG here. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're going to be up against this guy, and we're actually going to be using the Hog EQ bomb tower version here with Knight instead of the giant skeleton version. Kind of just wanted to switch it up a bit for the final game here. Alright, so this guy's going to go with delivery at the bridge, also a miner. Snowball. Oh, I think I know what this guy is playing. He has like this really interesting balloon deck. So we're just going to go with a hog here. Because I'm pretty sure he also has fishermen, so I kind of just want to go with the hog when there's a knight down, just so that it can distract the fisherman and we can get more chip damage with our hog. And you're actually going to get a ton of damage here, so pretty good start here. We don't have Tesla for the balloon, but I feel like Queen does a really good job against the balloon compared to the firecracker, so definitely still winnable. And honestly, Bomb Tower isn't too bad against balloon either, because it does take 2 shots for the balloon to kill, as opposed to 1, so yeah. I needed to go with the Rascal split there. I think he was trying to bait us to go in with the Queen, but we saved it, so looks like we're gonna have a pretty good defense here. And he still will have to go with like a delivery on the Queen, so still gonna get some value. And we're even gonna ability still, because I feel like should still get good chip damage. And he will get the activated King Tower there, but he went with the Fisherman super late, so we already took like almost half his tower, so yeah, really good start by us, because you can kind of see that we were super aggressive so far this match, and that's kind of what you want to do when you're facing a matchup like this. Like, if you know that your opponent has like a good counter to your deck, then it's usually always better just to go super aggressive at the start, because like the worst that can happen is that you just lose, but I mean, if they have like such a counter, then they'd beat you if you played normally anyway, so you might as well try to be really aggressive and see if you can kind of surprise them and get a nice win off. Alright, so I was waiting on the bomb tower there. That's something you really have to watch out for, because sometimes they can just go with like a balloon and then like push it with like skeleton dragons or bats. And he did score 1 shot there. We couldn't really do anything about it though, because we had kind of limited stuff there. Unfortunately, we don't have Queen in cycle, because the Queen is on the board over there, so gonna be a little bit sketchy here. Okay. Luckily the towers were targeting the balloon, and the death bomb of the bomb tower barely finishes off the balloon, so really nice defense by us, really good fire spirit. And now we just need like another EQ and a log here, and that should finish it off. Just gonna pre-Queen here though, because Queen can actually pretty easily counter a balloon if it's alone, so yeah, it's gonna be GG. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Bye!